Hello there. Figured you guys could come hang out in the shop with me for a little while. Well, garage. Got my old Poulan 71A up here on the bench today. I bought it from a guy a while back. It was running. Paid $60 for it, I think. And got it home. It sat for about a week probably, and then I finally got the chance to go and put it in some wood and realized it's not running like it should be. So ordered a carb kit for it, and it's a Tillotson carburetor. So obviously they don't make Tillotson carburetors anymore. So there were some updated parts in the kit, and I put it together yesterday, put it in, got it almost completely back together before I realized that I probably should try and reroute that oil line a little better next time. Realized that the needle seat's not sitting down all the way. The arm appears to be too tall in the carburetor assembly, so it's letting fuel by without the diaphragm, you know, having pressure on, without the engine running, so it's flooding out the engine. And you know, when I was putting it together yesterday, I was looking at it going, I wonder if that's too tall, and I went ahead and put it in anyway. Big mistake. Should have been it. Should have given it a little tweak, a little adjustment. So we now have to do this Chinese jigsaw puzzle all over again. Pull this carburetor back out of this Poulan. I don't know if too many of y'all are real familiar with working on 71As, but I'll bring you in here close. They cram this carburetor in a little compartment between the fuel tank and the back of the motor, and it's stuffed in there pretty good. So it's not the easiest carb I've ever done. Anyway, let me find a funnel. I gotta pour this gas out of here. Sit tight. Can't beat it on back. Don't you hate it when you can't find what you're looking for? Aha! Oh! Careful! I may just run you over. Alright, I'm gonna dump this gas out of here and see how big of a mess I can make. Alright. I think that's good enough mess there. You know, it's kind of weird, friends. Usually I'm out here working by myself, and I mean, sure, I talk to myself from time to time, but I don't know, it's weird having somebody out here to talk to. Is that weird? Anyway, okay, gas is out, starter's off. Now the fun part. Let me see if I can show you this, friends. This is oh, come on, get off of there. The so this is one side of the engine here, and let me see. Oh, maybe not. You can see the carburetor in there, right? So it's jammed in here. This is the gas tank, and this is all one piece. This whole thing right here is one piece. You can see it's bolted to the back of the engine there. 4 bolts, 2 on each side. And so it's a solid casting. And they give you this little tiny hole behind the flywheel here to get to the nut for this side of the carburetor. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, right in there. And then, now, you know, they were nice enough to give you another. Oh, they were nice enough to give you another hole on the other side of the gas tank. It's a little bigger, and you know, you got a little more room. Obviously, the carburetor will only come out this side, but you can see it's kind of it's a jigsaw puzzle. All right, let's put you guys back over here. All right. Sorry for shaking you around, guys. Let's see. Need a little adjustment. It seems to work pretty well. I've got you guys. I'm doing all this off my iPhone right now because I don't have a GoPro. I think I'm gonna end up getting one, but I'm doing all this off my iPhone. I've got my iPhone sitting in a RAM mount, suction cup to a epoxy resin jug, a 1 gallon epoxy resin jug. It's working pretty good right now. So let's see. All right, got the gas out. Let's get this round wire unplugged. You know what? Before I make a bigger mess, let's get down to business here. We're gonna get serious. You know, I think I'm gonna like this a lot. What? I'm just kind of gonna put these videos on the channel, see where it goes. Who knows? I work 2 jobs. I'm a airworthiness inspector at Gulfstream on weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is not very interesting. But Monday through Thursday, I do trees. I work for Eager Beaver Stump and Tree. I do tree removals. I do a little bit of climbing. I want to do more, but I love running saws. I love cutting stuff down. It's a blast. So maybe we'll get some video of that here soon down the road in the future, and you guys can just kind of follow me around and see how it goes. I kind of like having y'all out here in the shop right now, honestly. I feel like you'll keep me a little more positive, because sometimes things don't go the way you want them to, and let's just say the mood isn't quite as positive as it probably should be. Okay, fuel line. Come on. Yep, we're making a mess. Oh yeah, that's what you want, right? Oh, there's a little bit of air pressure on them guys. Put that over there. We're gonna need it. Okay, let's get in our tiny little hole here, shall we? Take our carburetor nuts off. I had to make a quart gasket for this thing yesterday when I put it together. These 71As are they've got a reed intake, so it's a little, reed block. It's got 4 little reed valves on it. And it doesn't really like bolt anywhere. It just kind of sits in the mouth of the carburetor and gets wedged in between a metal ring and the intake plate and the mouth of the carburetor there. Well, it's got this gasket in there, and obviously it was junk when I pulled it apart. God knows how long it's been sitting in there. So I made a new one out of cork, which should work for the application pretty well. But it was kind of a bear getting it together, to get it all lined up and kind of sit right. So we'll see how it turned out. It may be all warped and jacked up. I may have to make another one. Hopefully not. Oh, poop. Forgot to take the oil line off. Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get with me. We could be working on chainsaws one day, hanging axes another, washing a car the next day. Who knows? We'll see where it goes. Got an old Home Light Super Whiz 55 sitting over here on the floor. I've been working on the fuel tank, the oil tank, and air cleaner assembly. Yeah, look, it's raining again already. It's supposed to rain like this all the way into the evening. Anyway, the fuel tank, the oil tank, and the air intake assembly, the air filter assembly, are all one piece, and they're just divided by dividers in this tank with a plate. So it was leaking really bad when I got it. So I pulled it apart and made a new gasket out of Moto Seal, the GP55. Been letting it sit over here. I'm hoping it doesn't leak, but we'll find out. Probably should take this bar off of here, but it's kind of a bear on these old Poulans. Okay, so just as I suspected, this reed, yep. Let's see. This reed intake block is being a bear. There we go. Oh, there it is. There's my little quart gasket. That held up pretty good. We'll probably reuse it. I'm just pushing the reed block back in here. Get my other nut. Do a little cleaning up. There's a lot of gas in here. It's kind of interesting the way they did these old Poulans. You know, this is even newer than I've got a Mac Super 1010 down here. It's a good saw. Love it. Love it. Got a 28-inch bar on it. But it's weird how they made this whole casting. This whole thing's the air box. The back of the carb just kind of hangs out in there. The air filter is all the way up here at the top. I don't know if you guys can see that. So like this whole area right here is just an air box. So if you've got a fuel leak from your fuel, you know, your gas tank or whatever, they can make the saw run real rich. Alright, so that's in there. Let's pull this back apart. Let me get a fresh rag here. Fresh towel, excuse me. There's the old needle valve arm. I'm just going to kind of take this new one out, set the old one back in there. Kind of give me a reference point to see how far I need to bend the new one, you know, how far down it needs to sit. There's a special tool for this. Of course, I don't know if Tillotson has one. I know for the Zama, you know, the Walbro, excuse me, two-piece sandwich carbs, the little cube carbs. They have a tool. You put it on here, and it's like a depth gauge. Basically, it tells you how high the arm is supposed to sit. I don't have one. Never have. I've rebuilt a lot of carbs. Typically, don't have too many problems out of them. So anyway, let's take this guy out of here, and let's set that needle back in there. Put our old arm back in. And the reason I'm not just using the old arm is because it's actually a different style. I'll show you here in a minute when I take. Oh wow, it's way down in there. Nope, 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 nope. That's not gonna work. So I'll just have to eyeball it. No biggie. Alright, so here's the old needle arm, right? And it's just a flat, you know, piece of aluminum or steel, whatever this little thing is. And the old needle style, it just sat on top of the needle valve like that, and just allowed it to come up under spring pressure. Well, the new style has a fork in it, like your typical carburetors now. So it actually slides over the needle and lifts it, as opposed to just allowing it to rise up. Can't be losing screws. Typically when I drop a screw, the floor opens up, the screw disappears, and the floor closes back before I have an opportunity to look down and find it. I was actually able to find it, so awesome. Alright. Let's put this guy back in. Oh, maybe. They don't build these carburetors for big-handed dudes like me. Of course, my hands aren't even that big. There we go. And the sun's back out. What a nasty, humid day this is going to end up being. Okay, so yeah, that's just sitting way too far. Let's see if we can't give it a little tweak here. Oh, can't forget my little cork gasket there. That's my handiwork. Not a perfect square, but it works. Okay, that's better. Let's see where the diaphragm sits now. Yeah, I like that a whole lot better. Yeah, that's gonna work. That's gonna work great. Calibrated on. I swear. Click. You hear it? I'm telling you. Calibrated. No need for a torque wrench here. Where's my water? I left my water on the other side of the garage, you guys. Big boy like me is gonna stay hydrated, you know. Alrighty then. Just closing my high and my low needles off, making sure they're closed. I'll back them off to factory to start before I go to fire the saw back up. Yeah, I think we're ready to go back together. Alrighty then. Let me get down in my stance so you guys can see me. No, my bench isn't that tall. Here's how I normally stand, but you can't really see me. Well, you can see me, but my head's cut off. And if I tilt the camera back up, well then, I'm not going to be able to see what I'm doing on the bench very well. Not you can see what I'm doing all that well right now. Anyway, My intent here is not a how-to video by any means. We're just hanging out. I'm having fun. You having fun? Cool. Okay. Let's Chinese jigsaw this guy back in here, shall we? Now this one, you guys saw the hole I have to work with over here, so this one's a little more difficult. Oh yeah, first time. Hardly ever happens, ever. Last time I put this carburetor in, just yesterday, matter of fact, I dropped this nut like 5 times. And you gotta pick the saw up and try to get it out of there. Needless to say, the attitude yesterday during carburetor installation was not the most positive. And you know, at the end of the day, who does that benefit? Nobody. Especially me. There's so many things to be positive about, you know? There's just no sense in not being positive. You know, I think the other thing I kind of wanted to mention here is I'm a pretty computer literate person, but I've never edited videos. I haven't even had a video editing program on my computer ever until this morning. I actually watched a YouTube video about the 5 easiest to use video editing programs. I downloaded the one they said was the easiest to use. Sat at the computer for like 4 hours this morning trying to figure out how to use it. So you guys might have to bear with me on some video editing. I might go get some tips from a buddy of mine that does YouTube videos. Smallest Uber in Savannah, Chris Hannigan. He seems to be pretty good at stuff like that. I may go get some tips and pointers from him. Maybe even see what program he's using. Choke. Choke. You've got to be choking me. Sorry. Lame attempted some humor. Sorry. This Poulan saw here is a awesome saw. It's one of the old Poulan muscle saws. It's a 91 cc or 92 cc saw. Pretty big boy, and it's got good compression. You can tell it's got some wear. It was definitely run a lot in the day. You know, you can tell because the certain enamel paint or whatever this is all worn off the handle, worn off the bottom of the saw, the back of the saw. But good compression, and it, you know, to tell you the truth, it would cut wood the way I got it, even though those carburetor diaphragms were freaking super stiff. I mean, they were crunchy. So I'm excited to see what it'll do with a good set of diaphragms in it. I may have to take it to work with me Thursday to really put it in some wood and, you know, tune it up the right way. I like to tune my saws up in the cut, you know, because that's where you want your power, it's where you want your RPMs. So, you know, I'll tune it here at the house, get it running right, where it'll sit and idle good, and it's got good revs, sounds good at the top end, but it'll need a little fine tune adjustment in the cut. And I don't have any wood around my house right now because I've split all my wood and got it all stacked up so it'll start drying out and seasoning. So I don't have any logs around the house to cut on. Not a log big enough to tune a saw like this. I like to bury the bar in the cut when I'm tuning, you know, the fine tuning. I like to really get her in there, you know. So, but this saw's a beast. I'm excited to do some cutting with it. I think it's running pretty good. Sounds like it might have a little bit of a intake leak. It's probably the crank seal. It's been sitting so long. I'll probably pull a crankcase pressure and vacuum test on it at some point. You know, just to see how those crank seals are. I have a feeling they're leaking though. So you can kind of hear it, you know, bouncing up and down a little bit at the idle. It's probably got a little bit of an induction leak, so we'll check it out, see what happens. I like it. Running 10 times better than it was, I can tell you that right now. I even put it in a little bit of, I got a little tiny wooden block over here, I put it in. And it's cutting pretty good. I can't wait to get the bar sunk in some wood, get a good cut going. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got for today. I'm probably going to go in the house and chill, hang out with the wife. Y'all be good. As Buck and Billy Ray would say, be kind.